welcome to the podcast series. Here we'll be talking about anything related to product and tech. And this is our first podcast. So super excited about this one. And to start, I am Yashasvi. I am a grad student at Carnegie Mellon in the Information Systems Management program. And this summers, I interned as a product manager at Intuit. And today we'll be discussing about Utkarsha's PM internship at Amazon. She's also a second year grad student in the MISM program. And I have my another colleague, Akshaj. I'm sorry, I always mispronounce your name. So why don't you guys introduce yourself and then maybe we can ask some questions to Utkarsha.
Sure, I can start. So I'm a second year graduate student at the Masters in Artificial Intelligence and Innovation program at CMU. Like Yashi is like also a grad student at CMU. And I mean, I'll let Utkarsha introduce herself.
Thank you guys for a brief introduction. So I'm also a grad student pursuing information systems management along with Yashasvi. I recently interned as a product manager at Amazon. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about my journey.
So before we get into the serious stuff, why don't you guys tell like how are you feeling mentally, emotionally, and physically?
What was it? Mentally, emotionally?
Emotionally and physically. So I'll start. Mentally, I think I'm feeling I had an interview yesterday, so that didn't go well. So I'm not feeling that good. I'm questioning all my life choices. And then physically, I'm feeling very energetic because it's too bright outside, and emotionally, also I'm feeling energetic. What about you, Akshay?
Okay. Yeah, mentally, I haven't done a lot of CMU homework that has been given to me this semester, so I'm pretty happy right now. But like I've been working on my startups, so it's been pretty fun till now, till I can avoid doing CMU homework. Physically, I'm pretty good. I mean, I've been playing football for the last 2 days, so that was tiring, but like I think I'll play again today after we're done with the podcast thingy. And emotionally, I'm excited for this next Saturday.
Okay.
Utkarsha.
Yeah, I think mentally I'm stressed with all the job applications and the semester going full blown. Physically, I'm feeling good. It's Friday. It's a bright day outside. I didn't have any classes. And emotionally, yeah, I think I'm doing okay.
Okay, so to start with, Utkarsha, can you tell like what were you doing before CMU?
Yeah. So prior to CMU, I was working as a software developer at Deutsche Bank India for 3 years in Pune. So yeah, I was a full stack developer. And along with that, I was also involved in a lot of cross-functional responsibilities. So there were a lot of initiatives between finance and technology that I was leading, I was working at. So yeah, that's about it.
How did you decide to like go into product management after like working in a bank? Like, does it have any backstory?
Especially as like a software engineer. Yeah.
Yeah. So as a software developer, I was working for internal tools within Deutsche Bank that were used by finance users, but I could not see the direct impact of those tools. And I was always curious as to, like, how can I make a direct impact, a bigger impact? And also the technology cross-functional initiatives that I mentioned, I was closely working with finance users, understanding their requirements, gaps in their daily processes, and trying to improvise and optimize those processes. So I was really having fun doing that. That's when I realized that I like to listen to people, understand their problems, and solve those problems. I knew somewhere that I was a better fit for cross-functional roles than just being a software developer. And my passions, my skills were affirmed and validated by my managers and my peers. So there was one manager in particular I would like to mention who pushed really pushed me for pursuing masters or trying to explore my skills. So that's when I decided to pivot or move into cross-functional domain. So I did not have product management in particular as my focus area, but it was more like I was open to all sorts of role that would align with my interest. And that's how I chose MISM at CMU, because it gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of the courses that you choose. We have like 42 units of electives. That's almost like a semester of electives. So I think that was very important in my journey.
Right. Like what was the application process for CMU like for you? Like, did you apply to like other universities? Was like CMU the top of the list for you, or like, and
Yeah,
how did you finally
definitely.
decide on like MISM versus like, did you apply to other programs as well, or only like MISM?
So I was pretty much fixated on MISM, like MIS, and I applied to CMU and Kelly School of Business. So I got admit from both the schools,
Oh,
and it
that's
was
nice.
a tough decision to make between the two. But somewhere I knew that I didn't want to limit my outcome, my career outcome, to one specific path, like consulting, because with Kelly School of Business, you either become a technology consultant or a product manager. But at that time, I was not really sure what I wanted to do. So I wanted to keep my options open. And that's how I landed upon CMU. And obviously, whose first choice
So
it
you
isn't.
you only applied to like two schools?
Yeah.
Okay, like because I
Even
had
I
like 30 or something applications and stuff like that, but yeah.
Even I applied to three schools.
Wow.
Also, I'd like to mention, like before like you came, Akshat, I asked with Karsha, like, what is the best decision she has made so far? And her decision was like she chose CME over Kelly.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, I mean, maybe segueing on that itself, like how has like CMU helped you like with the transition from software engineering like to becoming a PM intern at Amazon? Like, did you do any part-time stuff or like part-time product roles while at CMU or like some classes? I don't know.
Yeah. So coming into CMU, I met a lot of people, understood about different roles from different people, after talking to different peers. So that's when I fixated my goal as product management. I took a few courses from the HCI department and Tepper School of Business as well, to help me pivot to product management. I was also working as a product manager for CMU Business Technology Group. So they have this product management program where they select 5 product managers from across CMU, and they assign you different teams. You lead the teams to build a certain product. So yeah, these are a couple of things that I did.
Also, I have a like, I get this question a lot from software engineers who are like in the process of transitioning into a product manager. So, what are the skill sets like of a software engineer are very useful as a PM? Like, how did you show that as a strength in your interviews, like your software engineering background?
Yeah. So as a software engineer, you get some tasks, you need to develop a feature. If you can showcase in your interviews that you're more curious about the reasoning or rationale behind why do you want to build this feature, what impact it has, and what have you done differently to deliver a better impact or to ensure a smooth delivery of a particular feature, something on the lines of have you taken ownership, have you identified gaps, areas in the processes, and tried and like basically stood up and gave ideas, something like that. So more than just taking requirements, have you been involved in getting to know what the user really wants? I think these are some of the key areas that one should think about. Is this what excites them if they want to be a product manager?
I think that's very interesting, like especially the ownership part, like because being a PM requires to take you a lot of ownership, and somehow if you're able to showcase that in your interview, that gives you an edge over other
Yeah.
candidates.
Yeah, that's true. And basically, it's like most of the software developers have uh, execution-oriented mindset, like almost all of us do.
Yes.
So it's like, are you asking the right questions? Or how often do you interact with your PMs? And are you getting to know what goes behind the business?
Yes, yes, and uh, like, or you're doing something beyond what is assigned to you. I think even that is a big thing which you can see during the interviews.
Yeah, so I think in my interviews, it was less about what I've done as a software developer, but more of what responsibilities I have taken up beyond just development, like interacting with users or leading a team or leading a product idea, defining a product vision. So that's something that I was always asked about.
So I have a follow-up question on that. So what were the kind of questions which you felt like which were asked to you during your interview, like where you were able to highlight those skills, like the ST skills, which transition like which showcase your PM skills, right?
Yeah,
In
so
that sense.
a little bit of background into the interview process is I've had only 2 interviews up
Okay.
until now into product management, that is Google APM and Amazon Senior PMT. No other interviews so far. So for Google, it was just a product design interview, but the Amazon interview process was really interesting. So they focus a lot on their leadership principles. All the questions circle around leadership principles. So most of the times, so all the questions were like in a certain scenario, like tell me about a time you have done XYZ. So the questions, a few key questions that I remember are like, have you been in a situation where there was not enough data or you did not have the right data? There was ambiguity related to data. So how did you tackle that? Because as you know, product management position is all about ambiguity, making hypothesis and leading your product vision with a certain assumption. So the questions were somehow skewed around leadership principles as well as the product management job. So I, if you ask me about what were the product related questions, I was asked about success metrics, that
Yeah.
if this is a certain product, this is what we are going to implement. What are the key metrics that you will be focusing on to measure the success of this product?
And before the interview process, like how many places did you apply to?
Oh my God, almost at least 200 different
That's
applications.
crazy. That's
Yeah,
crazy. And you
That's like
got
a
like,
lot.
yeah, that's a lot. And you got how many in callbacks?
two.
That's insane. It's like less than 1%.
Yeah, it's like my first
Oh,
ever
exactly
application.
1%. Yeah.
My first ever application was Google APM. I got a call back. My last application was Amazon. I got a call back, and
And you got an
nothing in between.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I think most of the applications, like I went through rejection, I think because primarily because I didn't have an MBA. I think that's a requirement in most of the roles. The other is they require a product management experience, which I find a little ironic, because if I'm applying for internships, it's basically to gain experience.
That's
But
true.
most of the positions have it mandatory that you have at least some experience in PM. And obviously, as an international student, you deal with a lot of rejections just because of your visa status.
Yeah. And the other thing is like they require a certain number years of experience. Like even that is crazy because it's an internship, right?
Yeah.
Um, but one thing which I've noticed is like although like there are a lot of challenges, it works out. Like people who put in effort, it works out for like all the people I know so far, like they landed a PM internship.
Yeah.
Really.
I think that's That's an interesting thing this year for MISM. We haven't seen many PM interns before, right?
Yeah, this
According
has
to
been the
previous
highlight.
statistics. But this year do have a lot of PM interns in MISM program.
I mean, even full-time PMs, right? Like,
Yeah.
Even full time.
all right. So, I mean, like, let's look back from like the application process maybe, and like, why were you interested in like PM in at the first place? Like, there are a lot of different cross-function roles, right? Like, there is product marketing management, and I mean, there's like program management, project management. What are the cross-function roles? I mean, there is like chief of staff at startups. That's pretty cool. Like I've done that. That's why I'm saying that, but it's pretty cool regardless. So yeah, I mean, like, were you like, did you apply to any of the other roles or only like product?
So I only applied for product roles. I think during my first semester at CMU, I was trying to understand what is my interest area, what really aligns with what I want to do. So going back to my previous experience at Deutsche Bank, I tried to chart out what were the areas that really like what were the projects that made me get out of my bed in the morning and made me feel like, oh, this is what I want to work on and I'm excited to do something. So there were a few projects at Deutsche Bank that I was really excited about. The most common factors about these projects were that I had to talk to the actual users, understand what they do, understand their process, identify what are their pain points, what is that one like what are those key areas that I can pick and improve or automate or write some cool Python scripts and improve those like aspects of their processes. And also there was this one competition at Deutsche Bank where I participated, like came up with an idea. I was one of the top 10 finalists for that competition. But during the competition, I realized that I don't have the business like skills, business side skills, or I don't have understanding into strategic thinking. And like there are some skill sets from the business development side that I lack. And that's when I knew, okay, these are the areas that I need to improve. But yeah, going back and forth, I realized that product management is something that clearly aligns with what I want to do. So that's where I narrowed down on.
Okay, cool. So what do you think like you learned from the Amazon PMT experience? Like what were the key takeaways that you got from it or like key learnings?
Yeah, I think there are many. There are plenty of them. Because when you go with a software developer mindset, you know that you're going to get XYZ requirements and you have to just find a way to build those features and implement them. But going from a place where you want to decide what to build and how to build it is kind of tricky because you don't have enough data. There's a lot of ambiguity. There are a lot of dependencies among stakeholders, among teams, and you have to align with everyone, figure out a solution that is suitable for everyone, and like a solution that delivers the most impact. So thinking about impact, thinking about the long-term vision, and how you can leverage existing tools and resources within the org. So I think there are plenty, like I can keep going on and on, but I think the most important learning was a major shift of mindset from being execution oriented to thinking about the long-term vision and being like visionary in terms of what product you want to build.
And like, what helped you in doing that mindset shift? Like, did you read something or just talking with people? How did you do that?
I think the CMU courses that I took in spring semester did help. Like they gave me a good head start. Digital service innovation, new product management, consumer behaviors were some of the best courses. Also, my peers at Amazon really helped me to change my mindset from like they really helped me to transition from being an SD to being a product manager. So had uh, I had good relationships with all the most of the stakeholders, like the tech team, the product team, the business analysts, the data analysts. So I think everyone had some sort of role to play to help me transition.
Okay, and like from your interview, like one thing I've realized is like people have helped you a lot in uh like taking the next step of your career. Like when you were working earlier, your manager pushed you to pursue your master's degree, and this time during your internship, people were like they helped you in doing the mindset shift. So for that, you need to build relationships, right? So what were the things which helped you to build relationships at Amazon? And this is something where even I struggle to build relationships, but it helps a lot. Like they tell you like what you're doing right and wrong. So I'd like to hear more on that.
Yeah, so like that being said, it's not always feasible to get along with everyone, but you can get along with most people. So yeah, there were some proactive steps that I took at Amazon. Is firstly, I knew it, most of it would be a remote work. So I made sure that I was there in office whenever everyone planned to come to the office. I almost went every day to the office, interacted with people not just within the team, but also outside of my team. So if you just see anyone just going around in the office, I have reached out to them, talked to them, and I always go with a script in my head, short elevator pitch that, hey, I'm a new intern and I was an SDA before, so this is a new space for me, so I want to learn more. So can you just give me your insights, like how your journey has been and what you have learned? So sometimes, like knowingly or unknowingly, people give you some tips that are really useful. So like just go and reach out, go and talk to people. Some might respond, some might not appreciate it, but all you can do is try. And also, I think I believe a lot in off work networking as well. Like apart from work, you should talk to people. If you have something in common, bring that up, talk to them. If you find someone who is an Indian, you have a lot of stuff to talk about. If you find that you have worked in similar kind of industries, or they are alums from your school, you have plenty much of the stuff to talk to them. So just find that one thing to have a conversation and build a relationship.
Utkarsh, what do you think? Like, you want to do this semester, and maybe after you graduate in like December this year?
Yeah, first of all, I have to apply for full-time roles into product management. That's a given. I have taken a few courses this semester to fill in the gaps that I realized during my internship. Interestingly, I'm also taking some piano classes. Just wanted to
Okay.
learn, was curious, and planning to make the most out of my CMU last semester. I'm also planning to take maybe like salsa classes. I'm thinking about it.
There's a salsa class today as well at 6.
Oh,
No,
really?
it's on Tuesdays, right? Oh, today is a special one. Yeah, they have like Rueda or something.
Oh,
Yes,
is
yes,
it?
yes,
Forward me that email if you have it.
yes. There's one at 6.
Yeah.
Uh, and also do more biking.
Probably if I get enough time with CMU, you know that you don't have much time,
Yes.
but if I manage to, I will. After graduating, uh, hopefully I get a good job in
You
as a
will.
product
I
manager.
you get one with
And
Yeah.
your skills.
did you get any biking friends at Amazon?
Not really. I was biking alone. I had a friend, like I have a friend at Amazon who also bikes, but we stay too far away. So we never really biked together. But I did a lot of biking in Seattle as well. I was biking around different lakes, different areas. Oh my God. Seattle is beautiful for biking. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
one
it
thing.
has like all the greenery and stuff like that. Then you can see Mount Rainier.
Yeah. With Pittsburgh, it's a little difficult because the terrain is like there are a lot of uphills from here, and it's really difficult to bike around Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So to I think it was very interesting talking with you, Harsha, and especially like seeing
Do you
your
have
entire.
any questions for Yashi though?
I I don't.
I
But
think
I have one. I, what questions? Do you have any
Oh, okay.
questions?
You have one more question. Okay, cool.
I don't have any question. I just want each of us to like tell a myth about PM which they realize is a myth like very recently.
Okay, so I've never been officially a product manager, so I can't
But
debunk
maybe
myths.
just tell like what is the most weirdest thing you have heard about product management?
Mm, I've heard that, I mean, Microsoft has a product management role, which is not really product management, it's more product marketing management.
really,
I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah.
I think they have a program manager role, which is more or
Yeah,
less
so
product
the
management.
program management role is more product than product management. Like the product management they have is product marketing management, apparently, from what people
That's
say.
crazy.
But my Microsoft as a company is like my go-to company. Like they are so diversified. Like it's like the most diversified big tech company out there. And the other part is that they just sell so much B2B stuff and they're like good second movers as well. So I really like the company, but like their naming schemes might be wrong.
Okay, the most hurtful myth I have heard about product management is like project management, product management, and I don't know what other PM, what other
Program
titles
management.
which have PM are all the same. It's
Mm.
so weird. Like
True.
now people say that thing and think like it's correct. So that's the most like weirdest thing I've heard about product management.
Yeah, I think on the same lines, it's more like there's no clear definition about the role. Uh, every PM, I think, or every new PM must ask what is expected out of them because our
Mhm.
perception of the role
Yeah.
might be different than what we are asked to do. So,
Yeah,
like,
it's like different at different companies, right? For example, I'm pretty sure it was different at Amazon and Intuit. And like then there are B2B, B2C companies where it's like completely different what you're doing on a daily basis kind of a thing. Then there are like growth PMs, there are like retention PMs.
Yeah, retention PM.
And then
Actually,
there are like
yeah.
some PMs that scale products from 0 to 1, and all of them have like pretty different jobs.
yeah,
I think the PMs who like grow a product from 0 to 1 is the most interesting thing for me, at least, like a growth product management, because the initial phase of a product is the most fast. So I think that's the place where I will be interested to work at. And okay, before Rutkasha, you start, the other myth I have heard about PM is like PMs are mini CEOs. Yeah, that is also not true at all.
that is not true.
Yes.
I think PMs are mostly the facilitators between all the stakeholders. It's like you piece everything together and make it work. So,
That's
like
true.
that's how I see it. You fill in shoes for the gaps that are present, and yeah, just make sure that
Okay, but like
product gets
you are
delivered.
kind of owning the product, right? I mean, like, yeah, you can't fire people, even
You
though
own the
sometimes you maybe
product.
wish you could, but like you own the product, right? You own the
eh,
strategy of like a feature or something like that, and you see how it gets like to the software engineering team and how it is like how
But
the GTM is kind of a thing.
if you'll see a role of a CEO, they also look on to like the what kind of values and the cultural thing which is growing across the company, the acquisition, if they want to acquire more funds, or like how is the whole business going. So we don't look into like from where we are going to get the funding. We
Yeah, I
just
agree. So I think, yeah, it's like definitely more strategy role
Yeah, like
thing
you're
as well.
responsible for the product strategy, but not the other parts, other aspects of a CEO.
yes.
True.
Utkarsha, are you able to think about any of the myths or like?
I would rather not bring them up right now.
Okay. Um, so Utkarsha, do you have any questions for any of us or any
I mean, I do have a few questions, but I think we'll need to have a separate podcast
separate
for
one?
Yashi
Yeah,
and Akshay as well. Like,
yes. And do you have any ending comments?
um, ending comments. Yeah, one very important comment I would like to make to future PM aspirants is don't believe if people tell you that product management is not your thing or you can't break into product management. You definitely can. Just keep trying. I've heard so many people tell me, oh, maybe you need more experience, or maybe
Yeah.
you can transition internally, but right now breaking into product management is next to impossible for you. So there will be a lot of people who will tell you not to do or will tell you otherwise. It's because they haven't ever really tried. So keep
Also, I
trying.
mean,
You
like
really
one of
believe.
the key excuses is like the MBA thing. That's a myth. Like you don't need a MBA to do PM stuff. Like that's the
Yeah,
biggest myth, I would say.
yeah, but
Yeah.
somehow the sad reality is most of the companies out there, they prefer an MBA, they want an MBA to be a product manager. So it's
I don't think it's true. I mean, like you can be like a founder person who has scaled a previous business, like that's much more valuable to most companies than
yeah,
MBAs.
I think it's a lazy filter to put on. Like if
yeah,
you have
yeah.
MBA, you are better
That's
suited.
true. Maybe big tech prefers MBAs more.
I don't think it's a preference, it's more like a lazy filter. Like
I
recruiters
agree.
uh like it is a difficult job, right? Like for the recruiters as well to filter out 1,000
I mean,
applicants.
if you have like 15 applicants and you have to take first 10 applicants to interview, I think that would be a lazy filter that they put on. That let's see
Yes.
if they have an MBA or not.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. And the other thing is like even your number of years of work experience matter, but they don't matter. Like that's not a make or break thing. So I think that's my biggest learning so far.
Yeah, I mean, like even I think big tech companies have come up with good programs like APMs, especially and stuff like that. Like you can enter with 0 years of
That's
experience.
Yeah.
I mean, at least that's what they say. I don't know what the statistics are, but yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Utkarsha, for like sharing your thoughts. And it was really exciting to hear all of that. And thank you everyone for seeing our podcast. This was our first ever podcast, so don't be too harsh because even we are learning.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
I want all the feedback. Like just type the harshest thing possible in the
I'm not
feedback
going
field.
to read the
Comment
harshest things. Akshat is going to read the harshest things. I am a very
Yeah,
positive
just
person. I
give
only
me the
like to,
harshest feedback and give Yashi the easiest feedback.
yeah, give me the easiest feedback because I only like to hear good things about me. I'll be very honest.
I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine with failures. So like give me the bad stuff.
Yeah, but if I get feedback, do I get to do this again?
Yes.
Yeah, give Utkarsha some feedback and do we get her
I
back
will
on as
like
a guest or
DM her
not?
on LinkedIn with
Like
all of
after
the
5 months.
questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much for having me. This was fun. This was a fun conversation. And all the best to you both for future podcasts.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye.